Jacob, are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Drew. But wouldn't Moriarty disappear out of the holodeck?
I think the only thing holographic is your brain. No, you fool, we're going to review an animated movie on this here podcast.
Brilliant! No, wait. Why would anybody want to listen to geeks like us?
Because, you fool, these people are so very easily entertained.
Okay, Drew. Narf!
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who was warned to touch nothing but the lamp. Jacob.
Well, I do have severe ADHD, so sometimes it's very hard for not be just to, get excited about everything. Why, thank you, and like to introduce our co-host, a man who's just avoiding trying to get eaten by Raja. Welcome, Drew.
Well, you just don't want to be that close to Frank Welker when he's not in a good mood.
Exactly.
And you have to avoid him 3 different ways, as in this particular
that is
movie.
True.
So,
that is true.
So Jacob, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm actually on vacation.
Lucky.
The time of this recording.
Of course, I was on vacation last week, so.
Well, this morning I actually got in a good 5-mile walk. We got some breakfast, picked a few things up. Finished out what I said earlier, a 5 to 6 mile walk, and yeah, it was a thoroughly enjoyable day. I definitely need to get off the couch a little bit more.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's I've enjoyed sleeping in, which is fun in a way. And then it's more like, okay, what do I need to do? And I look around my apartment. So yeah, I've got a ton of things I need to do. And I'm working on.
Yes, you do.
But other than that, it's going pretty good. Trying to work on some projects. Yeah, good. How about you?
Oh, it's been good. Work. I've been working the past couple days, trying to get stuff sorted up there, figure out what actually is going on.
Yeah,
you know how that sort of thing goes.
Oh yeah.
And currently, not that any of you can see this on our live stream at the moment, I have been rearranging furniture.
Yeah.
So hopefully, within the next couple weeks, you'll be able to at least see something besides the air conditioner thermostat.
Right.
That we never can get stitched to hide correctly.
No.
So, yeah. So what have you been watching, if anything?
A lot, actually. I watched, what was it? She-Ra, Princess of Power. For some reason.
The original or the new one?
Princess of Power. Princesses of Power.
The new one.
The new one.
The Netflix one.
On Netflix one. I found myself I was like, okay, I haven't watched this in a while. So why not watch it? And I wound up binge watching until season 3. I was like, okay, this story got really good. The story's really good. I'm kind of waiting for them to go to another world and a certain somebody else show up.
It could happen.
It could possibly happen. I think they're currently in season 5 right now, I think.
I've not kept up with it. All I know is in the commercial I saw when I was getting on Netflix the other day, one of the characters who in season 1 had a little bit of baby fat on her still, looked like she'd grown up a bit.
Yeah, that I didn't see it happen. Yeah, I noticed that too, yeah.
Yeah, so something's going on.
Yeah.
At least time is passing.
Yeah, characters are growing
unlike
up.
The original show.
Right. Nothing against the original She-Ra.
No.
Because that show was so
a lot cheaper animation then.
Right, exactly.
Or you couldn't do as much with the money.
No, you couldn't.
I honestly don't know, adjusted for inflation, where either one lies. But
right. I also watched Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Good choice.
Yeah, I started going through that again. Kind of arcing back to my childhood, being children of the 90s. That was definitely a fun callback. Obviously, because with most Disney afternoon cartoon shows really didn't have pilots. Except I think Darkwing Duck did, I think. No, it didn't. Darkwing Duck, because for most of those shows, they don't get to kind of like an origin story until season 2.
Or, well, I don't know. There's a couple ones I watched. I don't think Darkwing Duck's one of those where he has 5 different origin stories.
Right.
But I know another show. I haven't, not that I've watched it recently.
Well, technically not origin show, but where
what would be the first
yes,
story chronologically?
Chronology, yes.
Yeah.
Like with Chippendale, I think it's Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Let me
Yes,
emphasize that.
Not the one with Chris Farley.
No, and not just them chippering away like when they're non-rescue rangers.
Not the old style.
He loved the bug the snot out of Pluto.
Pluty?
Pluty. Yeah. Pluto. Whoever.
Anyway.
Yeah, I watched that. I watched what was I watching? I had someone I've known for many, many years. He was a youth I worked with. And now I think he works in Dallas now. Mm-hmm. And so he had mentioned that this certain show was on Netflix, and it's Cardcaptor Sakura.
Oh yeah,
was on Netflix. And it's like, okay, I'll give it a shot because I remember liking the first English dub of it.
Right. The second English dub was done a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I could tell. So well, this afternoon actually, before I came over here, I got on Netflix and was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, and I couldn't get past the characters' voices. I just couldn't, because for me the voices of these characters go back to the original dub and 99, 98, one of those. And so what I did, I literally went to YouTube, found it on YouTube, and watched it there.
Here's the problem with your thought there.
What's that?
They edited that original show.
Oh, absolutely.
All get out.
Yeah, it's very apparent.
It does not match up with the Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card season that started up a couple years ago.
Right.
Because it doesn't even get to the seasons in between, and anyway.
I guess I'll just up the grin bear.
You prefer Cardcaptors to Cardcaptor Sakura.
Exactly. It
does have a good theme song. I'll give you that.
Agreed. Most heavily is
better than the Japanese one in my opinion.
Yeah, it's the show, because originally when they brought it over to the States, they wanted to bring it to more a boys audience.
Yes,
and so they
aired it on Toonami. So yeah, they were expecting guys to watch it.
That's right. It was. I kept thinking it was like WB, like
it may have
Kids WB.
It may have aired there too, but I remember it on Cartoon Network.
Right.
Probably right after another strange addition to Toonami, one far stranger, Hamtaro.
I remember something about that.
Anyway.
Yeah. Either way, so I wanted watching that. I know we, the two of us went and watched over at a friend's house. We watched a little bit of some. What was that show that we watched? Do you remember?
Oh, good night.
Yeah. It's our.
It's got a weird name.
Yeah, it has a very.
Let me rephrase. It's not that it's a weird name. It's got a Japanese name.
Yeah, it's
that I can't pronounce, and it was something like Monowashiri something. I don't know.
Like that.
I'm hesitant to actually say it because I'm fairly certain I'll get it wrong.
Yeah. But
it was interesting.
Yeah. So if our friend Chase would get down in the chat and just
if he's even in the chat,
if he gets around to it,
I could look it up, but I'm also lazy.
Yeah. Aren't we all? But either way, I've had my fair share of watching TV, and I'm hoping to get around to actually watching Titanic for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, when the movie came out in 1997, I believe, came out in 97, I was like an early teenager. So be like, oh yeah, all the girls were wooing over this. Be like, oh, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's like I don't want to go watch this because I'm jealous.
Yeah,
I'm a jealous teenage boy.
You're jealous of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, well, I was a teenager. What do you expect?
I didn't care.
So I'd be like, it was more like I never got around to watching it.
But then I was in 5th grade, so
right, I was in like 7th, 8th, but and so I had an opportunity in 2001, like on my first date actually, to go to watch it, but I was like, nah, let's watch something like, I don't know, Pearl Harbor. Like another 3-hour film. That is what I've been watching. And so what have you been watching?
Well, after I got back from, let me back up. So I was on vacation recently, and I'd gone up to visit my grandparents or grandmother. Mm-hmm. And we watched a couple Hallmark movies because my grandma and my mom love Hallmark movies.
Like they do.
I don't completely understand it, but I kind of let it go. But because I was in the room, I counted it towards that 100 movie thing.
Yeah.
But then before we came back, we watched 2 interesting movies that were on Disney Plus.
Okay.
One is The Black Hole.
Okay, I keep hearing really good things about that.
That is a very dark movie for Disney. I think it's like Disney's first PG movie.
Yeah, it's the 80s.
Yeah, but it's still got it's got that weird Disney flavor to it that is still kind of kid friendly. It's just about halfway through it, somebody has to drop the D bomb.
Yeah.
And then we also watched a movie called Blackbeard's Ghost.
Okay.
Which is about a guy who is staying in the town that, Edward Teach, Blackbeard,
Yeah.
Was supposedly living in when he was with his 10th wife, who was a witch, who cursed him.
Oh, okay.
And through trial and error, as events occur, he ends up being haunted by Blackbeard.
Okay.
And it's interesting.
Okay.
That was a fun one to watch. I mean, don't go into it expecting something deep philosophical meaning. It's just a fun movie.
Right.
So yeah, I watched that, and then when I got back, literally the day I got back, HBO Max launched.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple things on there. Mainly, I watched Little Shop of Horrors for the first time.
Okay.
Which is like Muppets Dark. It's not a Jim Henson production, but Frank Oz directed it.
Right.
And
yeah, you know who wrote that?
I know the music was Alan Menken.
And
the original movie was Roger Corman, but then it was turned into a musical on off Broadway, and then it was returned back into the musical I Saw.
Well, as far as I understand, it was originally a Broadway by Howard Ashman.
Yeah.
The guy who wrote all these amazing early songs for Disney.
Yeah.
And
in this movie, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that point at some point.
But that was good. But mostly what I've been watching on there are old episodes of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Ah, those are funny.
Yeah, they are very funny. But that's pretty much outside of the anime Chase got us to watch. That's pretty much all I've really watched.
Okay.
Over the course of the past couple weeks.
All right, excellent.
That I'm at liberty to talk about.
Yes, same here. All right. So, in the news, there is a certain game franchise possibly coming to Disney Plus in the form of a TV show.
Oh?
Yeah. It might be very warm to your heart.
I have heard of this.
Yes.
But it is still rumor, which is why I have not jumped on this news.
All right.
And I am hesitant to get excited for it what I'm assuming are going to be obvious reasons.
Yes. All right. So apparently, Cinema Spot Insider last week posted that the game series Kingdom Hearts is reportedly being developed as a CG animated series for Disney Plus.
I can understand that. From what I hear, they're going to use Unreal Engine 3, which is the same game engine they used for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Uh-huh.
Which, if they're using all the technology they used in Kingdom Hearts 3,
right.
It will look good. Don't get me wrong. It'll look great.
Mm-hmm.
I am curious if they've gotten the rights back to Tarzan yet. Because
time will tell.
Well, because the thing is, while Disney owns the rights to distribute it and such,
right,
like on video, they don't. They just recently got the rights to do it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Because I just saw that it's coming in June, which I don't know if that's on your list, but it's coming in June.
No, it's not on my list.
Which makes me wonder, outside of the One World in Kingdom Hearts, are they going to be able to bring it back for whatever this TV show is? Because that's what this has not explained, from my understanding.
Yeah.
We just know it's based in the universe. We don't know if it's retelling the games.
Yeah. We
don't know if it's a original story that's going to have an obnoxious name that no one's going to be able to understand until they've watched 75% of it.
And have to watch it twice to understand it.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know let's face it. It will have an obnoxious name, no matter if it's a remake of the series or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it were me, what I would love to see, though I don't think they would do this, is actually go ahead and redo everything with the same voice actors.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the things that will confuse you, or that will messes with me.
Right.
Through it is between the first two games and Kingdom Hearts 2, Haley Joel Osment went through puberty,
Right.
so his voice gets deeper,
Yeah.
noticeably
Drops a few
deeper.
octaves.
And then Aerith has like 3 different voice actresses.
Well, they can just pick one.
Lord Xehanort has 3, and 2 of them died. I weep for. I'm hoping Christopher. Oh, what's his name?
Walken?
No, Doc Brown.
Oh, Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher Lloyd. I'm hoping that this is not a cursed role since he's the current voice actor
Yeah,
for the main villain of the show.
I might riot. Be like, I might personally riot if Kingdom Hearts kills off Doc Brown.
Well, I mean, it already killed off Spock.
Okay, we are not saying that Kingdom Hearts is cursed in some reason.
No, I'm saying the role of Lord Xehanort is cursed. It killed a man between his appearance in the game and the DLC.
Okay, then.
I don't think that's actually what happened. I think it's just coincidence, but I throw it up there along with the Madden curse, where the football player who's on the cover of the game has the worst year he's ever had.
Or the Superman
gets
curse.
Injured. Yeah. I'm throwing it up there as like, this is an interesting coinky dink.
Yeah. So to your point of be like with hiring actors, apparently the three current voice actors for Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Goofy Pluto, and Donald Duck are reprising their roles for this.
That makes sense. They've been reprising those same roles for the past 30 years.
Yeah, roughly 30 years.
Because that's the thing I have. When you're talking about the Disney characters,
Yeah.
unless there's some weird scheduling conflict, it's almost always the same actors.
Right.
I mean, obviously, Robin Williams didn't reprise
Obviously.
for the genie in the Aladdin level,
Yeah.
but it's the same Jasmine and the same Jafar
Uh-huh.
and the same Aladdin.
Yeah.
So yeah, little heads on that before
Yeah,
we get to the actual thing.
Yeah, we'll head into that a little
anyway.
bit later. All right, so
What's the rest of what else we got?
all right. So let's talk about a little blue blur for a second here. You know, with Sonic the Hedgehog. Cuz obviously it's in production now.
Yes, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Yeah, so it's currently in production, which that be like to me is like I'm excited to what they're going to do because they did a phenomenal job with
I agree.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
I agree.
And it's always either it's going to be you have three scenarios with a sequel. Either A, it's going to surpass the first one.
Yeah.
B, it's going to be meh, or D, it's going to be a bomb. It's just going to drop like a hammer.
I noticed you skipped C.
Okay.
But I was going to let it go.
Okay. Just let it go, man. Let it go.
Wrong movie. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so they have
What was funny though when I was watching the news on this, they were talking about how Sonic the Hedgehog 2 got a sequel, but obviously there's no video of the new movie, of course.
right.
So they showed scenes, and usually when this happens, they show B-roll footage from the previous movie's trailer, right?
Yeah.
They did not choose stuff from the newer trailers. The B-roll our local CBS station used was the original trailer with the old Sonic.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I thought that was hilarious.
All right, so they have Oscar-nominated animator Jeff Fuller returns direct. Script will be penned by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. The project is currently in development, so cast and production kickoff is to be announced. But the partners obviously it's partnering with the Sonic team or Team Sonic for this film, like they did in the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So Sonic 2 is underway.
Good.
And so I'm very excited about getting to know a little more about the world of Sonic.
Okay.
Anybody else excited about this?
I'm always excited for Sonic, even when Sonic is bad. So
Okay. All right. So that's it in the news.
Alrighty. So let's get into the spoiler-free section of our review for the movie Aladdin, 1992. I originally saw this movie after it had come out on home video.
Mm-hmm.
but my mom swears she's never seen it, so I don't know exactly how I saw it. Or at least after we got out of watching the new Aladdin, she swears she had never seen it. I know I watched it. I either watched it at a friend's house or maybe they showed it at school. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know I watched it because I remember at least the plot.
Okay.
From more than just Kingdom Hearts. And I know most of the songs.
Right.
Except for the opening. That first song, Arabian Nights, was on whatever viewings I watched, they came in at the Peddler.
Okay.
Which means I have never actually gotten to hear the original line that got edited in that song.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, in the original song, in the song, there's a line that says where it's hot and
intense.
Intense.
It's barbaric, but hey,
it's home. In the original version, he says, where they cut off your ear if they don't like your face. It's barbaric, but hey, it's home. I have only heard about that in passing. Right. I have never actually got to hear the original version, and I kind of think I prefer the original version. And the original version, I think, fits the rest of the movie better, because the rest of the movie does not shy away from, this is Arabia. We do things different in Arabia, and some of it is not Disney nice.
No, it's not. It definitely takes off this. It used a lot of like when I was a kid, they would use different words that I had no idea what it meant. Now as an adult, I do understand it.
Almost to the point, it's like, I was surprised the first time I watched Hunchback.
Yeah.
And they actually did not shy away from Catholic imagery.
Yeah.
I'm going to specifically say Catholic because it is Christian, but there's a lot of focus on saints and,
I got you. Yeah.
all that stuff.
Right.
And that just seemed like something Disney wouldn't do in the 90s. But then you go back to 1992.
Yeah.
And you literally have the Sultan going, praise Allah. It's like, boy, you can tell this is about 10 years early. Because I don't know how well this would have flown. It's at least a couple of years right after 9/11.
Right. But the fact that it was cut, interesting fact about that, the like when it was first screened, when it was first put out, they had a lot of Muslims who were very offended by that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so they had to go quickly and I think it was like one of the screenings. It was like they had a lot of people complaining about it. So they go back.
You can kind of tell there's a feeling of some dropped scenes throughout the movie, but not,
a little bit.
Not dropped scenes. You can kind of feel almost a rush edit in parts, but not too obvious.
Okay.
I don't know. I can kind of sort of feel a rush in some of the edits, even on this remastered version that I watched on Disney Plus.
Right.
So yeah, was my experience with it. I still like the movie. I'll get more into my thoughts when we get into the spoiler-filled section, but I will say I kind of wish this was a little bit longer than an hour and a half, just to give some more oomph in some of the scenes. Okay. But that's just me wanting more pacing and more time to breathe, and really more Genie,
of course.
But yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the movie?
My thoughts, well, if memory serves correct, I might be wrong on this, but I do remember watching it in theaters and just being like mind blown. It was like, oh my gosh, because it was kind of like a tradition that back in the early 90s that we would go and watch like the recent Disney movie with my aunt and my cousin, and I remember watching Aladdin in theaters. It was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Just the pure spectacle of how they how far CG had come in 1992. This was a fantastic film, and I think the next year I went and watched The Lion King. Obviously, why did I just drop the ball on The Lion King? But either way, I remember watching it in theaters and then watching it so many times on VHS, and then watching the sequel. So, right. But yeah, I have very fond memories of this movie. It's a wonderful movie. Obviously, Robin Williams killed it. Just be like there's Be like he just ran the gamut of everything in that movie, and I enjoyed it. It's got a good story, good plot, good characters, very compelling story, and I enjoy the mess out of this movie.
So in our chat on my Facebook watch party, which you can join either mine or Jacob's Facebook watch parties every Tuesday night when we record, if you want to join us.
Right.
In mine, we of course asked the stream before everything started, and a second ago, if anyone had any memories of the movie. On mine, I had Josh Adams reply, "Never Had a Friend Like Me" is one of my all-time favorite Disney songs. Which I can understand that. That's actually a very good song.
It is. It's a very good song. I mean, like there are a lot of very memorable songs in this movie.
Oh, yes.
A lot of them.
I agree.
All right, so we've got that out of the way.
Right. So let's go ahead and we'll move into our spoiler-filled section of our review of the movie Aladdin on the other side. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Aladdin. Listener discretion is advised. Aladdin was written and directed by Ron Clements and John Musker. They both wrote and directed Moana, Princess and the Frog, and Hercules.
You forgot one crucial one.
What did I forget?
The Little Mermaid.
I didn't scroll down that far.
Come on!
And plus,
you
I like
got one job to do that. Come on, man!
Hey, in my mind, if I go farther than 3, there's got to be a good reason. And while Little Mermaid is a good reason,
yes.
I probably just looked at the best known for as I don't know what that fourth one is because it wasn't Little Mermaid. I would have remembered that on there.
Yeah.
It was also written by Ted Elliott and Terry Rossio, who wrote Shrek, The Lone Ranger, and Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Arr. Music was, of course, by Alan Menken, who did Little Shop of Horrors, Tangled, Beauty and the Beast, and Howard Ashman was the same. With some of the lyrics being written by Tim Rice, who, of course, wrote the lyrics for The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. The movie is based on Aladdin and the Magic Lamp from 1001 Arabian Nights.
Yes.
By unknown authors.
Yes.
Because that is actually a collection of short stories or tales across a long period of time. Cast includes Scott Weinger as Aladdin. He played the character of Steve Hale in Full House.
That's right, he did.
Robin Williams plays the genie and the peddler at the beginning. He is, of course, Mork in Mork and Mindy.
Yes.
Daniel Hillard in Mrs. Doubtfire. And Peter Banning in Hook.
Hello! Or Peter Pan.
Yeah, he's Peter Pan.
Yes.
But that wasn't how it was credited.
No, it wasn't.
Which I was like, IMDb, are you trying to not spoil people on a 20-year-old movie for the first time I've ever been on this website?
Yeah, just to quote that very famous movie of Hook, kill the lawyer!
Yeah, what's new? Linda Larkin plays Princess Jasmine. She did not have much outside of reprising the role of Princess Jasmine. But the next thing it was listed on her known for was the character of Kelly in a movie called The Next Best Thing.
Heard of that.
I hadn't, so you're better off than me. Jonathan Freeman plays Jafar. And do you remember when we were kids, a show on PBS, of all places, called Shining Time Station?
No, I don't.
Well, this was the American version of Thomas the Tank Engine when it first aired over here.
Yeah.
And in the American version, they had a kind of a puppet band, essentially.
Okay.
And one of the characters in there was named Tito Swing, who Jonathan Freeman voiced.
Okay. So, interesting point. You mentioned Thomas the Train. I did notice when in my research doing for news, I just didn't put it in there. But apparently the voice of Thomas Train recently passed away.
Oh, that's sad. Next on here, we have our good friend who we've never met, but has been on more episodes than probably we have been, Frank Welker as Abu, the Cave of Wonders, and Raja. And for those of you who have never listened to us before, with Frank Welker, I always try to find something We've not mentioned before.
That's a lot.
And I'm actually surprised this has not come up, so it may have already come up before.
Okay.
So fair warning. But in the movie, Transformers, Dark of the Moon, he played Shockwave.
Yes, he did. Well, technically it was Soundwave.
Then IMDb had it spelled wrong.
Yeah, it's Soundwave.
We'll go with that.
Oh, what was it? Hold on. I love Soundwave. I love Soundwave as a character.
I always thought it was sad you couldn't actually play tapes on those.
The original one you could. The original, when it was in Japan, the original one you could. But was over in the States, you couldn't.
Of course not. That'd been too much fun.
No, of course not.
Of course, we've got Gilbert Gottfried as Iago.
Why am I not surprised?
He is, of course, the Aflac duck.
Was.
Was, yeah, he's not anymore. And in the movie Problem Child, he played Mr. Peabody.
Okay.
Brad Kane is Aladdin's singing voice, and he played the voice, Tom Thumb's singing voice in The Adventures of Tom Thumb and Thumbelina.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Leah Salonga was Jasmine's singing voice. She was Mulan's singing voice in Mulan. And she has played Mrs. Kusakabe in My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh,
The mother.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Which I thought was an interesting...
That is a very interesting...
Yes. So, what we got in... What are we calling this thing now? I think we've changed the name of this section about
it's just,
7 times.
Let's just call it production.
Production, yes.
Production and cost.
What's the production look like?
All right. So, the movie has a 8.5 on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
Rotten Tomatoes is a 95, which is not surprising at all.
Mm-hmm.
And for audience score, it has a 92. There again, be like, I don't get that. I'm just like, it's the... Like most of the time, your audience is higher than your critic score. Sometimes, I'm not saying all the time, but
I think
sometimes it's different.
I think
it's very odd.
Yeah, I think what you're dealing with here is an average.
Yeah,
it could be that we are separated just enough from the original release of that movie.
Yeah,
that maybe people who don't have the nostalgia going back and looking at the movie, maybe being affected in the audience scoring, and maybe they're not. If they don't remember how things were or not good film studies, they may not realize how much we've come since then or up till that point, and don't know how. And I'll admit, we'll get to it in a second, but that's just my thoughts. It's like when you don't have the nostalgia, and you're not maybe that's affecting the score. I don't know.
That could be a possibility.
It's a guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Either way, it was produced by Walt Disney Pictures and Walt Disney Animation. It was distributed by Buena Vista Pictures. It was released on November 25th, 1992. Box office wise, it had a budget of $28 million estimated. It had a budget of that. On its opening week, wowsy boo wowzers. That's nuts. All right. So it's open. I'd be like, I just basically just cut and paste this on here. So, so its opening weekend U.S. gross was $198 million, $0.6 million.
Okay.
Its U.S. gross was $217.3 million. And to kick it up quite a few more notches, its worldwide gross was $504.0 million. This movie made bank. It was like from its estimated budget of nearly $30 million to getting worldwide gross over $500 million. That is nuts. Definitely from 1992. That is crazy.
Yeah.
But hey, everybody went crazy over the genie.
Well, it's Robin Williams.
That is true.
No matter what, you got to give him that. He at that time, he was in his prime.
He was. But also a fun fact be like the fact that like when it came to the distributing toys and all of this good stuff of, because obviously the genie is the biggest character of them. So you have to give him toys and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, when Robin Williams said, be like, when he signed on to do this, be like, hey, I want to do something that my kids will get to watch. And so he did it on that, which is okay. Be like my character, because apparently they were paying him under salary for the one of the guilds. I can't remember which, but like they were paying him under, but they were giving him so many rights to the film. But one of his things was like, okay, but my character cannot be this much proportion on posters or advertising. He has to be much smaller, and like no toys could be made of him. But obviously, on the preface of this movie coming out, it kind of just happened, because you look at the original posters. The genie is larger than life. He's the largest character on the poster.
Well, with the exception of the first poster where it's literally just the lamp.
Yeah, that is true. That is a good poster.
I do love that poster.
Yeah, I think I had a chance to get that when I was a kid, but I didn't. I seriously regret doing that. But it's, oh my gosh, like the whole reason, like in Return to Jafar, be like, that's the reason why Williams did not return, because he was so mad. He was so furious with Disney. And then it literally took until 2000, just around 2000, that Katzenberg had left. And it was like literally the new head of the animation department literally went to Williams with a original, what was it? I can't remember. For some reason, the artist's name is failing me. A Picasso. He had an original Picasso and gave it to Williams. And Williams was still too furious about it, but eventually they did make up and made a public apology for what they did. They manned up, and it's like, hey, we made this error so many years ago, nearly 10 years ago. So, and then that's the reason why you have Robin Williams returns in the third installment, the direct-to-video Aladdin and the Prince of, what, I can't remember the title of it, but
it's Aladdin and the Prince of Thieves.
Thank you. But yeah, that's the whole, that whole story behind it's very interesting. And there's an interesting reason why why Robin Williams became the genie. A little movie called Fern Gully,
which I hated.
Yeah. I understand why you didn't like Fern Gully. I understand.
I didn't even finish Fern Gully.
Oh, really? You didn't finish it?
What I remember was watching Fern Gully because it was the new animated thing. We just rented it from the local movie rental place there in Lindell. Put it in. I'm watching it. I think to some degree I recognized, even at that age, that this was an environmental story.
Oh, yeah.
But I was still kind of into it, still watching it.
Yeah.
And then the black ooze creature,
Tim Curry, oh my gosh,
showed up. And apparently it scared me so much that I couldn't finish the movie.
Okay, I gotcha. It's like, so for Fern Gully didn't do very well financially. It didn't. But as of now, it's more of a cult classic.
We'll have to do it at some point.
Yeah, we eventually do Fern Gully. I think I watched it a couple of months ago. It was actually really good. I think I caught it somewhere. It's can't remember where. But the fact that he had done Batty, and I loved his performance as Batty because it's just Robin Williams. But the whole reason he got the role of the genie was because of his performance as Batty. Even though the movie didn't do well, just because of that reason, they're like, okay, this guy does have a good talent when it comes to voice work. So that's one of the reasons that I've seen that he was hired or he was given the offer to be Genie.
Okay.
And plus they designed a character after him.
True.
Yeah. Either way, that's my little rant about Robin Williams and there's so many different little stories that we can go into just about this. It could be a 3-hour podcast, but we're not going to do that.
Right. So, ready to get into the summary?
Let's do this.
All right. So, Jafar, the royal vizier of the fictional city of Agrabah, and his parrot Iago seek a lamp hidden within the Cave of Wonders. They are told that only one person is worthy to enter, the diamond in the rough, whom Jafar later identifies as Aladdin, an Agrabah street urchin. Princess Jasmine of Agrabah, upset that the law requires her to marry a prince instead of one she loves, escapes the palace and meets Aladdin and his pet monkey Abu. The palace guards capture Aladdin on Jafar's orders. Jasmine confronts Jafar to demand Aladdin's release, but he lies and says that Aladdin has been executed. Disguised as an old man, Jafar frees Aladdin and Abu and brings them to the cave, ordering them to retrieve the lamp. After being told to touch nothing but the lamp, Aladdin finds a magical carpet inside and obtains the lamp. Forgetting the cave's rule, let's face it, Abu did not forget the cave's rule. No. He got gold fever. He grabs a jewel, and Aladdin, Abu, and the carpet rush to escape the cave as it collapses. Aladdin gives the lamp to Jafar, who throws both Aladdin and Abu back into the cave, though not before Abu seals the lamp back. Trapped, Aladdin rubs the lamp and meets the genie, who lives inside it. The genie grants Aladdin 3 wishes. Aladdin tricks the genie into freeing them all from the cave without using a wish. He uses the first wish to assume the identity of a prince to woo Jasmine and promises to use his 3rd wish to free the genie from servitude. At Iago's suggestion, Jafar plots to become Sultan by marrying Jasmine. Aladdin, as Prince Ali Ababwa, arrives in Agrabah with a large host, but Jasmine becomes angry when he discusses her fate with her father, the Sultan, and Jafar without her. As a means of apologizing, Aladdin takes Jasmine on a ride on the magic carpet.
A whole new world?
Perhaps. When she deduces his true identity, he convinces her that he only dresses as a peasant to escape the stresses of royal life. After Aladdin brings Jasmine home, the palace guards capture Aladdin on Jafar's behest and throw him into the sea. The genie appears and saves him at the cost of his 2nd wish. Aladdin returns to the palace and exposes Jafar's evil plot. Jafar flees after spotting the lamp and thus discovering Aladdin's true identity. Fearing that he will lose Jasmine if the truth is revealed, Aladdin breaks his promise and refuses to free the genie. Iago steals the lamp and Jafar becomes the genie's new master. He uses his first 2 wishes to become Sultan and the world's most powerful sorcerer. He then exposes Aladdin's identity and exiles him, Abu, and the carpet to a frozen wasteland. They escape and return to the palace. Jasmine tries to help Aladdin steal the lamp back, but Jafar notices and overpowers the heroes with his magic. Aladdin taunts Jafar for being less powerful than the genie, tricking Jafar into using his last wish to become an all-powerful genie himself. Now bound to his new lamp, Jafar ends up trapped inside it, taking Iago with him. After Agrabah returns to normal, the genie banishes Jafar's lamp and advises Aladdin to use his 3rd wish to regain his royal title so the law will allow him to stay with Jasmine. Aladdin decides instead to keep his promise and frees the genie. Realizing Aladdin and Jasmine's love, the Sultan changes the law to allow Jasmine to marry whom she wishes. The genie leaves to explore the world while Aladdin and Jasmine start their new life together.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. So my first
okay,
is that this is a dark movie for Disney.
It is.
I know there is technically one that might be darker in The Black Cauldron, which I've not seen.
Yes.
But this is still fairly dark for Disney, even that considering that. Even when you consider in the very next movie, they kill James Earl Jones. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But they do talk about beheading and many other things. It's like, I'm surprised you're getting away with that in a rated G movie.
Yeah,
aimed at kids.
Yeah, I'll have your hand as a trophy, street rat.
Yes. I like that they were able to take that risk because while it doesn't really make the movie better, it does at least add a sense of realism to it. As much realism as you can get in this kind of movie. It's just, I enjoy that aspect of it. That it's like, yeah, there's actual danger in the city. It's not like a lot of these where it doesn't feel like there is any danger other than implication. It's that things might not go well. No, exactly. This is, your life is going to be bad. It's not over if you don't do, if things don't go the way you want them to go.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's my first like.
Okay. My first like is coming out of the box swinging. It's Robin Williams' manic performance as the genie. The fact that it'd be like, people have gone on record. There are 16 hours of material Robin Williams laid down. Be like. Now, most of it they've said be like they really can't release because how it's Robin Williams. Robin Williams. Like after watching a performance of one of his performances from 2002, I understand why.
Yeah, I do too.
But just oh my gosh, the amount of creativity and just his creative mind was so just like on steroids going into this movie. Be like for how many impressions he does, and like just the fact that he can go from just being zany and crazy and just wacky as can be to going down to a very tender moment of be like, it's like what was the moment where like you said in the synopsis of Jafar has Aladdin thrown into the sea.
Yeah,
I mean, like you had that real tender moment. Now, be like later on, I do have a little problem with that scene, but little moments here and there, like at the very end, be like, "You always be a prince to me." That scene is so good.
Yeah,
and like he absolutely kills it in this performance. That's why everybody just loves the genie. And like when they went to the sequel, be like, it's like. Yeah, the guy who did it was the voice of Homer Simpson. But like, yeah, he did very well for what the material he was given. But you really can't be like, you're going up to a bat against such a powerhouse. Thank you. Powerhouse of Robin Williams. And that's kind of hard to surpass. So, yeah, it's, Robin Williams' performance is a genie. I mean, like, it's so good. So good. What is your number 2?
Well, as much as I love Robin Williams' performance as the genie, my number 2 is Jonathan Freeman's performance of Jafar.
Yes.
I love me a good villain.
Oh, yeah.
And by good villain, that can mean a couple different things.
Right.
Especially with a Disney villain. Jafar is not Scar, who is just apathetic and has a lot of machinations going.
Right.
He's not Ursula, who is conniving and everything. This is the literal mustache twirling villain and that's kind of why I like him.
Yes.
He's literally wants to take over the kingdom. That's it. He doesn't feel he'd be better at doing it. No, he just wants control of the kingdom.
That's all.
That's all it is. And he's even nice enough to his little parrot that when he does become sultan, he gives him a little parrot hat to go along with it. A little sultan hat to go along with him.
Right.
And it's just, while he does his one song, which is a reprise of Prince Ali, is not as great a song as either Poor Unfortunate Souls or Be Prepared.
Yeah, but it's so good.
It's still, you could just hear he's having so much fun.
Oh, yes.
And that, especially when he launches the rocket / turret. That is just so much fun.
So
and of
long,
course,
see ya!
And of course, how can you not love the contempt in his voice when he says, "I think it's time to say goodbye to Prince Abubu."
I love that. That is so good. Like, Freeman just kills it. Kills it as a character.
And plus, you do have a villain. I'm sure there are other villains who have done this, especially in the Disney canon.
Yes.
But he literally uses sorcery to hypnotize the Sultan to get what he wants. And that's like, I appreciate the actual use of dark magic to get what you're doing. Because even Maleficent, arguably the best villain of Disney canon, or at least the most evil villain in the Disney canon, does not hypnotize her people. She just makes them all go to sleep. But she's not making them do the evil deed.
Yeah, so he's a very wicked man.
He's a very wicked man. And what's interesting about his design, at least from my perspective, he does have the same snake motif when he's in the full robes, like, his staff and the snake form he has later on. Right. And it's still very much that cobra. Oh, yeah. It's more of a cobra than I would say one of the other. It's maybe an asp. I don't know.
Yeah.
but that sort of hooded viper type snake. He's got that kind of motif going on. But the minute he's in the old beggar form, there in from the dungeon to where he knocks Aladdin back in there, you can still tell it's Jafar, even though he looks completely different, but only because you've been keeping up with what Jafar's doing.
Yeah.
And the little quick Iago showing his face for 5 seconds, which still makes me wonder, what's Iago doing right now in that particular spot? Why is he not somewhere else taking care of business? Why is he still hanging out with Jafar while he's an old beggar?
Well, he's Jafar's hump.
I don't care. But anyway,
right.
A hump could have come from somewhere else.
Right.
But his performance is just, you can just tell he's having a ton of fun.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Back there doing that. And like I said, I enjoy a good villain. And this is the type of, and especially a good chewing up the scenery villain. Yeah. Chewing the scenery so much, you're surprised you don't see bite marks out of the walls. That's how much he's chewing the scenery. And it's still wonderful.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, that's my feelings on his Jafar, and that was my number 2.
Okay.
What's your number 2?
All right. So to kind of rebound, kind of go off of your number 2. Your number
2.
Thank you. Your number 2. The fact that, like when you mentioned Jafar, be like he only has this one song. Mm-hmm. Well, apparently during production, because the writers and directors really wanted to give Jonathan Freeman more songs because he has a very good voice, but they can only give him one song. But I love it because if you go back and watch the deleted scenes, there are so many of him be like Jafar eating up more scenery, and having more songs which are fun, and the song be like I'll go into that in a minute, but like you said, he chews it up, and it's just be like every scene of his is just golden.
Oh, yes.
So, my number 2, the songs.
You just took my number 3.
Kabam!
It happens.
It does. The songs are so memorable. The songs are so from Never Had a Friend Like Me.
Yes.
A Whole New World. Prince Ali.
Mighty is he, Ali Ababa.
Wow.
I will just say that the Genie, both of Genie's songs, he is doing wonderfully. Especially how he jumps between characters in Prince Ali. That's just so. I just love that part of it.
Yeah, and one of the facts that, like you have, I mentioned Howard Ashman before. This was his last project he ever was able to work on before he passed away from AIDS. But there was one point where the singing actress for Jasmine, thank you, because they were in the middle of recording that, and at that point Ashman couldn't talk. He couldn't talk at all. So he was in his place in New York, and they were in California, and so. Or it was something where they were still there in New York because they moved all the production to New York to be closer to Ashman. So they're in the middle of it, and so one of the guys is on the phone with Howard, and he's trying to talk, so everybody's got to get quiet. It's like it's so and so be like, yeah, well, like what is it? It's like be more not Sinatra, but be more Bette Midler. Yeah, like, and so is these little things. The guy was a freaking genius when it comes to lyrically, because I can't remember. There's like 3 songs, like 2-3 songs in the movie that still have Howard's imprint on it, and I love that because the songs that we know as children primarily come from that duo.
Yeah,
and it's really fun to actually hear one of his last works he ever did on Aladdin, and it just made the movie even better. And it's obviously be like Whole New World. You have Jafar's song, which is just amazingly funny. It just be like,
even though we didn't get it.
No, he didn't get it. But be like all the songs in the movie are fun. They're entertaining. they tell a story. They tell a story in a way like most good songs. When you tell you a story, tell you what's going on. But it's like they're just so good and be like you. I remember as a kid, we'd be driving somewhere because I have 2 younger brothers, and for road trips, it was okay. The car radio is on. Be like, obviously you got all kinds of music playing, but primarily we wind up singing Disney songs and primarily Aladdin, all those other songs. So those songs are so embedded in my subconscious and those moments I'll cherish forever are there. And I love the soundtrack. It's so good. So yeah, it's my number 2 is the songs.
All right. That's also my number 3.
Okay.
You've got Arabian Nights. You've got... I always call the song One Jump. That's not the name of it. It's Aladdin's song as he's jumping, as he's in the streets. I can't remember the actual name of the song. Yeah. But I always think of it as One Jump because that's the first line of the song.
Yeah.
You've got Friend Like Me, Prince Ali, Whole New World, Prince Ali Reprise, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all the songs in this movie, and yet I can't tell you a one of them that isn't memorable in its own right. Maybe Arabian Nights might be the weakest of them, but it's only meant as an introduction.
Right.
And even then, it's just, that's so... And like I said, that song was always cut out of the versions I watched previous.
Right.
But it's still such a... All the music is all singable. It all has good lyrics. And when you try to sing along with Robin Williams, some of his stuff, I'm convinced he was improvising along with writing the lyrics to some degree, or he must have had a hand in writing lyrics. Because some of that, it feels like it has hit Robin Williams' stamp in what he says.
Oh yeah,
and it works beautifully. But it's all fun music. It's fun. It's stuff that you would love to sing along to in the car. And I had a hard time not singing while I was watching the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because the music is that good. And even the score with the musical, I kind of don't pay as much attention to because the music tends to be forefront in my mind. The songs do. But even the score in this is so beautifully done that you get lost in it in many ways.
You do.
So yeah, that's why it's my number 3.
Okay. I do want to make one correction. I did make an error. It's
okay, I made an error earlier.
Okay. When I talked about Ashman giving direction of what song lyrics, like what singer to be like, it was Barbra Streisand. Be like more Streisand. So yeah.
Anyway, what's your number 3?
Number 3 would be the story. The story is very well told. It's got a very good pace. You have very relatable you have relatable characters, and you have there again like Jafar, the very classical mustache twirly, power hungry villain, and the comical characters and the love interest, and it's such a good story. Be like from beginning to end, be like. There's little hiccups here and there, but they're more nitpicks than anything.
Yes.
But the story is so solidly well done. And I just applaud all the writers and the performers and the animators who did that, who made such I wouldn't say a flawless film because we're never going to get a flawless film or perfect film. But this comes darn close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, story-wise, amazing.
All
and
right.
you could go on and on, but yeah, such an amazing story.
So, moving into our dislikes.
Yes.
I have 2 nitpicks and a hot take.
Okay.
I'm going to save the hot take until last.
All right.
Because I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off when I say it.
Okay.
So, my first nitpick. The CG did not age as well as I would have liked.
I would agree with you on that.
I am mainly referring to when they're in the frozen. When
the Cave of Wonders.
No, That one was there's some trouble there too, but the one that sticks out to me the most is when Aladdin and Abu are in the frozen wasteland, and you've got that big CG turret rolling towards them. Mm-hmm. That I don't know what it is, but that almost seems like it's too simple in a way. Okay. Too simple a model, if that makes sense. I mean, in my mind, that turret is a part of the building. It's part of the palace. You do not build a tower that size and there not be anything in it. Right?
That is true.
And yet, when instead the angle that we see as it's rolling down, when it does that big zoom out, you can see at least all the way up to the one window.
Yeah, there's nothing
and there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's probably a lot to ask for early 90s CG to actually have a lot of stuff in there. But you could at least have, I don't know, a floor, maybe about, 10 feet into whatever room that it broke off at.
Right.
Maybe see what the remains of a ladder go up in there. I'm not asking for much. I'm asking for maybe 10 polygons.
Yeah.
Of stuff. Just enough to give you, it's like, okay, yeah, it's not empty. We're not going to show you what's in there for obvious reasons, but we're not going to leave it empty. And they leave it empty, and I don't know why they left it empty. And plus, the walls that we do see, they seem incredibly thin for a semi. I know it's not actually Adobe, but it's that still mud.
Yeah,
type
mud
of
brick.
It's mud brick. Yeah, that's that type of construction. Those walls seem awfully thin at the base for this house, and that bit of the CG, and that part of the CG does feel rushed. A lot of what you were saying about the Cave of Wonders, especially in the chase, the CG is not aging well there either.
No, it's not.
I'm not 100% certain in that. That might not be a product of the remaster.
That could be
some degree because, well, I know they had caps, and I know that I think this might have been after the way they did it in Great Mouse Detective, where they literally had all the scenes plotted. I think this might have been at a point where they were actually rendering it on in the computer.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure because I know it's that computer-aided system that Caps is, and they may have had it layered it that way. I don't really know.
Okay,
but I don't think it aged well the way it's done.
Okay,
not like some of the other stuff we have seen from previous, and not that we're reviewing Beauty and the Beast right this minute.
No,
I do think that ballroom scene has the same problem.
Yeah, in a way.
Not that I've seen the movie in a while, but I have seen a commercial of it recently.
Yeah.
And that part of it stood out to me. That that's obviously CG.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. It's that early 90s Disney CG it gets better in Lion King.
Yes.
Because Lion King you don't have this problem. There's a couple things you can go, okay, yeah, that's CG, but yet it still works better.
Yeah.
I don't know a better way to put it than that.
Yeah. It was good for its time, but
and I'll admit part of why it's standing out to me now based on what I remember from when I watched it. I watched it originally on a 480 standard definition tube television.
Right.
Almost every single one of those artifacts would have been covered up by the low resolution. This time I watched it on a 1080p television. That had been remastered with remastered footage. It's going to stand out a little bit.
A little bit.
So yeah, I just kind of wish it was better than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said, this really is a nitpick because it still works beautifully.
Well, I think when Disney started remastering their movies, the first movie they remastered was actually from Cinderella. Yeah. And
which is pre-Caps by a long shot.
Yeah, it's so pre-Caps, but when they went to go remaster the film, because originally Cinderella's dress was white. In the original I think it was
Yeah,
the DVD or the Blu-ray. It was blue.
They recolored it to be slightly bluer, and you lose many of the sparkles.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
are around the dress because of that.
Yeah, exactly. So
I remember seeing that also.
Yeah. So I think Disney learned their lesson because they
Yeah.
could have gone in and completely reworked all those shots
And
with more modern technology to make it
right.
better, but it's always better to
I'm not complaining
reserve that.
I'm not complaining that the remaster didn't do enough. I don't want the remasters to really mess with some
No.
stuff they really don't have to.
George Lucas.
At some point on the other show, we need to go through those movies.
Yeah,
but
we
that's
will.
beside the point.
We will.
We'll get there when we get there. But I'm just saying that what the original animators did, and admittedly, they were still learning 3D
Right.
at the time, what you can do with 3D, what you really shouldn't do with 3D. And this is just one of those things, the way these couple of scenes are done, where it's like, I wish it had been done differently
Right.
originally. And the only reason I'm noticing it now is because it's remastered.
Gotcha.
Anyway, what's your number one dislike?
My number one dislike. Now, granted, this is more of a nitpick.
Mm-hmm.
The Aladdin's Second Wish,
Okay.
because technically it wasn't Aladdin's wish. Aladdin didn't ask Genie to do that. Be like yes. He nodded his head, but he was unconscious.
Yes.
And for the fact to be like you have to ask for it, and Genie did it for simply be like, I've got to save Al's life, and I can't bail you out this time. And so he literally went with, it's like, okay, I'm gonna be like, I'm going to kind of force the situation where you have to use your wish. So technically, if you were to go by a rule of be like, you have to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, he had one wish left, but that is more of a nitpick towards the.
So, not to disagree with you, because
Okay.
that it is a weird moment
Yes.
in there, but I kind of rationalized that away with the fact that technically,
Yeah.
even though he got Genie to make the escape
On his own.
yeah, the fact that Genie then acts to save him, I think, kind of evens it back out, because he uses a wish. Obviously, Aladdin would wish if he was physically able to.
Agreed.
But he kind of does that really more as the freebie, while he essentially moved his wish currency around, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
In my way of thinking, because like, sure, he gave. It looks like he's given Aladdin 2 free wishes,
Yeah.
but he really didn't, because he technically used one to save him. Well, technically, he should have used one to get them out of the Cave of Wonders in the first place. So, yeah, that technically would have been the third overall wish.
Yeah.
I agree with you to some degree. I wish that had been handled differently.
Mm-hmm.
There's another weird thing, though, they should have done.
Yeah.
Before Aladdin wishes Genie free,
Yeah.
they could have give the lamp to Princess Jasmine, and she could have wished him to be a prince.
Could have, but then that would almost defeat the purpose.
I know, and it kind of isn't what she wanted in the first place.
No.
She wanted to marry who she wanted to marry, and really didn't care that he wasn't a prince, and actually was kind of happy he wasn't a prince. But
Yeah, she
I'm
wanted to
just
marry
saying,
for love.
They could have, at any point, if she'd have gotten hold of the lamp, she technically would have been master of the lamp, and she had 3 wishes she could do.
Right.
So, anyway, that's just a weird thing.
I gotcha. All right. So
You don't want to give it to the Sultan because he's too easily hypnotized.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, I'll get into that in number 3. But what is your number 2?
My number 2 it's my second nitpick. Genie's not in this film as much as I remembered him being.
Right.
So I was curious when I was watching the movie, when Aladdin finally rubs the lamp for the first time, and Genie comes out, I paused the movie and looked at the time. We were 30 minutes into you're 30 minutes into the movie when Genie first shows up.
Right.
When he gets taken when Jafar steals the lamp and he's putting the palace up on top of the hill.
Yeah.
We are at an hour into the movie, meaning there's only 30 minutes left.
Right.
Which means while Genie does some stuff, is still doing some of his Genie stuff while Jafar technically has control of the lamp.
Right.
None of that stuff is as fun. Well, there's a couple things, but most of it's not as fun. And most of it is in the middle of that climax. Everything I remember of the Genie in my memory is in that middle 30 minutes. And it's not as much as I thought it was.
Okay.
So like I said, this is a nitpick. It's just I kind of wish there was more Genie to go around. I wish they had... So yeah, there was that fan theory that went along a couple years ago that Disney actually said, yes, that is what's happening. That the peddler at the beginning of the movie, being voiced by Robin Williams, is actually the Genie in disguise from the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But they don't do anything but the scene that would have revealed that to us, the audience, got cut.
Yeah.
Now, when they did the live action version, they went ahead and kind of did that they originally intended to do.
Okay.
But I wish we'd gotten more Robin Williams, is I guess what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
Maybe, as much as I don't really like narrators a lot, maybe have him say some stuff between scenes, continuing to do that, Arabian horse trader, try to get you to buy the lamp now sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you can, maybe cutting back and forth to make him trying to sell the lamp may have been something just to give the Robin Williams more, because Robin Williams is a lot of the soul of this movie.
Right.
And I want more of him, but he's only really in full Robin Williams mode about 30 minutes of the movie.
Roughly, yeah.
Because once Jafar gets a hold of the lamp, while he does have a lot of good other scenes, and he does have some funny one-liners here and there, my favorite being, Jafar, he's our man. If he can't do it, great! But you do get a couple of fun things in there, but it's more reserved at that point because the Genie can't show that he's trying really to help. He's more on this other side. He's got to still be at Jafar's beck and call.
Right.
But he can't really be full Robin Williams. And that's what like I said, it's a nitpick. I just wish there was more of him in the movie.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to. So
Okay.
yeah, that's my number 2.
Okay.
What is your number 2?
So my number 2 touches on the carpet, the rug, everyone's favorite flying carpet.
Yes.
And it's not really do with him, but it's the rules of the Cave of Wonders, of how the Cave of Wonders says to Aladdin, be like, touch nothing but the lamp.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, then
The carpet should be off limits.
the carpet should
All the gold in that one room that they're walking over should be off limits.
yeah, exactly. And they obviously they walk over some piles of gold,
Yes.
and
Because the rule was not don't take anything but the lamp.
yeah.
It was don't touch anything but the lamp.
And so with that, it's like, okay, one, they touch the lamp. Two, they're touching the floor itself of the Cave of Wonders. So nitpick was
I will let the cave part, touching the floor of the cave, I'll let that go because
yeah, you kind of have to walk.
yeah, you kind of have to walk. The gold in the one thing that is literally on the floor that you can't not step on.
Right.
That's a little bit more distressing.
Yes, I agree with you. Now, the carpet is almost like a Deus Ex Machina in a way, that it's always there to help Aladdin in those really tough situations to help him get out of the situation, because obviously he couldn't get out of the situation by himself.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, obviously you have to introduce the carpet, but how do you introduce the carpet without breaking rules? And I guess that was the only rule they had to break, in a way.
My rationalization.
Okay.
Yes, the rule was touch nothing but the lamp.
Yes.
What if, anytime you are talking about these kind of treasure areas,
Yeah.
the people who design these things in fiction always love a good puzzle in how they design these things.
Right.
It's why Indiana Jones has so many of these things they have to get through in order
Right.
to, not get killed while they try to get the treasure at the end. That's essentially what's going on here. Is we've got an Indiana Jones moment with Aladdin happening. So it makes sense that perhaps in a more mystical, magic type of tomb or cave, as this is,
Right.
it makes sense that they would provide a way to get across if you could find it, which would be the carpet.
Right.
Maybe putting it in the room with all the gold is not the best way to get its attention, since they had to step on so much gold to get to it.
Exactly.
Which is really where I still have issues with that, but I don't know. I can see that as being, here's how they would, the people who were supposed to be able to get through this.
Right.
That's how they would have gotten there. This is how they would expect the diamond in the rough to be able to find the way
to resist temptation.
through it. To resist temptation is to take the magic carpet. And I'm fairly certain that the magic carpet is in the original story, even though I've not read the original story.
Right.
Which is why, and it was probably how he got across everything there.
Possibly.
Because I don't know if Abu is in the original.
I don't remember. I've heard some of it.
But I can also see, no one's perfect. He got the lamp, but as he's walking out, he sees this big gem, so, ooh, I kind of want that too. And he touches it. And then the Cave of Wonders, or whatever it's called in the book, goes crazy. But, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my rationalization. Take that for what it's worth.
And now, granted, that's just more of a nitpick. Be like, they could have obviously maybe reworded the Cave of Wonders dialogue maybe a little different, or be like, oh, here's your assistant, but that wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
So it's to be like, let's introduce the character in a very unique way, but at the same time, you're breaking your rule in a way. Mm-hmm. But there again, the carpet is Deus Ex Machina.
Yes.
In a way. So, yeah, that is my number 2. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is a hot take,
okay.
Which means I'm going to have a lot of people mad at me probably after I say this. I think the writing is actually better in the live-action remake than it is this one.
Oh, my gosh. See, it's not so.
And then before y'all just shut the thing off and curse my name and all this stuff, let me explain.
Okay.
This movie, at this time in Disney's history,
right.
They had a hard cutoff at an hour and a half. You could not go over an hour and a half in one of these films. Whether that is a money thing, a thing where maybe they don't think kids will be able to pay attention after an hour and a half.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know the exact reasoning why, but you have that. And so there's not enough time in this movie, I feel, to get into many of these characters' backstories.
Okay.
The Bollywood-style version of Aladdin that we got last year actually goes more, I think it was last year, but it goes into more depth on nearly every single character. Even, I think Alan Menken even wrote a whole new song for Jasmine, dealing with being a royal and being the future queen is still at the slavery of a man. Right. That sort of thing. And while I know that some people who are political might scoff at such things, it worked better for her character.
Right. Now,
before I get a lot of people yelling at me that I somehow think Will Smith's version of Friend Like Me or Prince Ali was better. No. I prefer Robin Williams. I actually think the music was done better in the original.
Yeah.
But the overall story, I think, was done better in the remake than it was in this version. That is not this movie's fault.
No.
Do not get me wrong.
Like you said, it was the limitations they had.
It was the limitation of the time. It's just, I knew when I finished it, I thought, I have to say that the remake was better in this instance. And it's just because the writing is more fleshed out in a way where I actually believe these characters are doing what... even as much as I love the mustache twirling Jafar in this, in some ways the mustache twirling is somehow even more realistic in a way that is believable in the remake than in this one. And I hate to say that because I know it's like people are going to hate me over this.
Okay.
I'm going to get raked over the coals, I know, when this comes out. And so I'm asking your forgiveness now, people. I have an unpopular opinion. Make like Elsa and let it go. I think while I prefer the original music and the animation style of the original version, I think the story was better in the remake. And in many ways, I wish you could have some weird amalgamation of the two where you had the old art and the old music and the old voice actors, but with the writing of the newer movie.
Okay.
That's just my thoughts on that. So.
I gotcha. So I think the Cell Nation will forgive you for that. I think so. Just I understand. Be like, you have what they did with Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Beauty and the Beast. They
actually like what they did with Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed what they did with Beauty and the Beast. The fact that they expanded the story out, they had more liberty to do that. And myself, I haven't seen Aladdin yet, but the live action movie, I haven't seen it yet.
I'm going to suggest it.
Okay, that's what I keep hearing. People should be like, "Go watch it; it's amazing," and others say, "No, it's terrible."
As much as I prefer the Robin Williams portrayal of Genie too,
yeah.
Will Smith's Genie is an entirely different character from Robin Williams' Genie.
Of course.
He's got an entirely different point. Heck, they see Will Smith's character for far longer. The real people do.
Yeah.
Than they do in that, because then, and there's actually give Genie a bit more story.
Okay.
Which I think works better. I think some of that is based on the musical version that was on Broadway, if I'm not mistaken.
Most likely, yes.
But it still like I very well. And like I said, I kind of want a weird marriage of both. But that's just me. I actually do still like this movie. Do not get me wrong.
Right.
It's just if you put a gun to my head, ask which story is better between the original Aladdin and the remake, I have to say the remake.
Okay.
But anyway.
All right.
What's your third dislike?
My third dislike,
besides me at the moment.
Hey, I have nothing. I have nothing against your argument. Be like, there again, I have not seen the film yet, so I really can't say anything about it. All right, so my third is really like a really history nerd nitpick about this film.
For a fictional story set in mythology.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is the history nerd in me said, well, okay, that be like not understanding fully the culture itself, because obviously this is Arabia, this is more of the Muslim world, and understanding more of what the culture was like. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of elements in the movie that they do right. Be like, the arm cut, the hands cutting off because the thieves and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of it, and I understand why they did it. I understand why they did what they did with the film, because obviously Princess Jasmine has to be your strong princess character, and your sultan has to be this bubbling fool who's a lovable beloved goofball that just gets himself in a lot more trouble than he should. But historically, if he did more of a historical piece, be like, this would be, a lot of people wouldn't like it. Let's say that. A lot of people wouldn't like it. The fact that Princess Jasmine wouldn't have a choice. One, there'd be a lot more siblings around.
Yeah.
Because back then, and obviously historically, that sultans did have many wives and many concubines. The fact that he would be like, obviously if he would want sons and be like at that age, be like, most likely he would have probably got knocked out by one of his sons with more power. Yeah. And one of the podcasts I listen to it's history. It's what is this? I'll have to get back to that, but it's a history based podcast, and they're doing one of the Ottoman Empire, and like, it's really fascinating. Be like how the dynastic rule is so, be like, if you make one mistake, be like, everyone's gonna jump on you about it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna just be like, oh, you did bad. And it's like, no, we're gonna take your head, and be like, it's like, if you have any kind of rivals, it was literally just be like, everybody's gone. And I find that very fascinating from a historical standpoint, but I understand why they went this route. And the fact to be like, the Sultan is not married didn't make any sense to me. I was like, what? This guy should have so many wives and concubines.
I just figured
which I disagree with. I disagree with concubines.
I just
and
figured they were
multiple wives.
I just figured they were off screen.
Yeah, that's true, but it's also implied that he's not married.
Well,
he only has one child.
The mother of Jasmine may have passed.
Yeah, well, that's a Disney. That's a Disney.
That's the standard Disney rule.
Yeah, it's a tradition. A parent must be dead or die in the movie.
I was actually just thinking, Wreck-It Ralph, as far as I know, we never saw his creator die, so we don't know if he's alive or not.
No. That'd be like...
I'm sorry, that was just a weird thought that crossed my mind.
Wreck-It Ralph is that very weird one because it has more Pixar influence to it.
Yeah,
so,
granted.
But in the same sense, to be like, I understand where they're coming from, but from the history nerd in me, it was like, you should have put a little more of this in here. Be like, yes, you get a little aspects here and there, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like,
that stuff doesn't mess with me as much because that's like the Disney cleansing, for lack of a better term,
right?
That has affected all of the classic fairy tales.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That Disney has produced.
Yeah.
But if on the same train of thought of historical realism,
right?
Let's just say,
yeah, hypothetically,
they're on that carpet.
Yeah.
Where do they go? How many countries do we see during A Whole New World?
That reminds me of something.
We see Greece, which means we should be seeing Hercules around this time.
Yeah.
We see China, which means Mulan should be hanging around.
Right.
Plus
Egypt.
They've not done an Egypt movie yet.
No, they haven't.
Give it time. We'll just claim that Moses should be over there by now at this point. It's about right. There's a couple other...
Right.
There's they go to many other different places.
Right.
Do you know how fast they would have to travel to do all of that and
make
it back
insane.
to Agrabah in one night?
Oh, it's insane.
They are dead.
Oh, yeah.
Planes now can't make that kind of journey that fast.
Apparently,
and they are exposed to the wind. And it's like, you know what? I understand what's going on, and I'm assuming there's a little bit of genie magic going on, even though we don't see them.
Yeah.
But it's like, you're in China.
Right.
Probably in the imperial capital city, which means you're not just in China, you're on the other side of China. You are as far away from Agrabah as Agrabah is from North America.
Pretty much.
And you made it there in one night with enough time to go to Greece and Egypt and come back?
All right, so 2 points.
And it'd still be nightfall when you get back.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? Well, apparently a carpet has warp drive.
Apparently.
And in doing a little research on this the Whole New World scene, apparently when they're in Greece, because there's an Apple theme going on in the film. Okay. So
I don't notice an Apple thing unless you're referring to Apple computers.
No, the fact to be like, okay, what is the first thing that Aladdin gives Jasmine? Is an apple.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in the Whole New World, he gives her an apple. Where are they? They're in Greece. Okay. So
I'm not following.
Okay. I'm getting there. So in Greek culture, if you pass an apple to a girl you like, be like that is to cultural. That means be like that is an engagement.
Okay. But
okay, what's your but?
But
okay,
neither Aladdin or Jasmine are Greek, and they don't know the local customs. They just happen to pass an apple tree, and Aladdin
that is true. I just thought that was so interesting. I was like, okay, that's interesting.
That may be interesting symbolism, but it falls apart.
I agree because it doesn't really fall within their culture.
Yes. Anyway,
either way.
Let's move into our ratings for this movie. I actually give it an 8.
You give it an 8, okay.
It's a fun movie. Mm-hmm. It still rings true in my memories. It's, like I said, it's probably the most adventurous movie of this era.
Yeah.
I would even claim it's the only movie that gets close to it might be Tangled.
Okay.
In terms of adventurous Disney princess movie.
Right.
Even though I won't really consider this a Disney princess movie.
Okay. There's a lot of people who fight you on that.
Well, the reason I don't consider it that is that unlike a Disney princess movie in which the princess is the main character,
I agree with you on that.
This is more of a Disney prince movie. It's the only Disney prince movie.
That is, yeah. That's one of the things they kind of struggle with you do in this film.
But it's not a Disney princess movie.
No, it's not.
It's the guy trying to get the girl, not the girl trying to get the guy.
Right.
But that's just me. That's just me saying, and it's not really a princess movie because this is more for the guys than it is for the girls. But I would concede to a Disney prince movie, and I have nothing wrong with Jasmine being considered a Disney princess.
Right.
But yeah, I still give this an 8 because it's just a fun movie. It's not the one that holds the most nostalgia for me from a childhood. Because that honor goes to Lion King.
Of course.
But this is still a great and fun movie. So,
agreed.
Yeah. 8.
All right.
What are you scoring it?
I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay.
Unlike you, be like, you don't really have that childhood schnauzers.
Nostalgia?
I'm going to say schnauzer for some reason. Nostalgia. Thank you. Nostalgia about this film because it has integrated itself so well into my young life, into my adult life, that it's such like you find yourself quoting it so often, or just be like when someone says something, be like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this, because it's so ingrained in there. And the fact that it's such a well told story, the cast is so good of Jafar and Genie, and I love the story. I love the animation. Like the fact to be like some of the powerhouses of the Disney Renaissance worked on this film.
Yeah.
And I just be like, oh my gosh, I love this. And if I had the chance, had the money to be like, hey, can you draw me something, please? It'd be like, it would be from these guys who did this film. Maybe not the characters from this film, but the other characters they have drawn. So to me, it's always going to have a very a special place in my heart for this film. So it's definitely a 9.
Alrighty. That brings us to the end of this episode, which means we need to roll for our next movie.
All right.
Now, at the end of the last episode, I said that we might be getting close to having to re-roll our spots.
Right.
I did the calculations a little bit further on it and realized Aladdin was actually 39.
Okay.
So it's at the end of the next episode, we need to roll that D20
to
find out where all our movies sit from now on.
Okay.
So we also had Aladdin technically taking up 4 spots, and while we didn't roll it, we decided to go ahead and let the genie out of the bottle.
Yeah.
And go ahead and get it out of the way. So we actually have 4 movies to put on the list this week. So in the slot number 1, which was me, I decided to put in a movie that's a bit more of an experimentation. It's a different kind of film than any other film we've done because it's not really a movie.
Okay.
It is Disney's 3rd animated feature, Fantasia.
Ah.
I thought this would just be a fun, interesting thing. Let us be a little artistically minded about this.
Yeah.
Talk about how great, I figured we had to have one of those where it's like, here's how we can prove we're very critical thinkers.
Okay.
And if there's going to be a movie that's going to prove that when it comes to animation, it's probably going to be this one.
Okay.
And plus, Fantasia has been on my mind recently, so that's why I went and put Fantasia on the list. So, what are you putting at number 2?
My number 2 would be The Iron Giant.
That's a good choice.
Yes. One of Brad Bird's very first animated movies.
Mm-hmm. What have you got at number 3?
The classic Pixar Toy Story.
I agree with that one as well. That's going to be a good one. I actually thought of doing that, so I'm glad you got it on there.
Okay.
And
my number 4 would be it's a different type of animation.
It would be our 2nd stop motion film?
Yeah.
Because I don't think Wallace and Gromit counts.
Maybe.
Because I think it was done in CG.
That could be possible.
Curse of the Were-Rabbit is what I'm talking about.
But the movie I'm referring to is Kubo and the Two Strings.
All right. So, sitting at number 5 on that dice roll, which has been on the list for 4 episodes, is Dragon Ball Z, The Dead Zone.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
And then sitting at number 6 on there for 5 episodes, we have Monsters vs. Aliens. So, Aladdin was your pick.
Yes.
Which means I get to roll. And I rolled a 2, which means we are doing The Iron Giant. So join us next week for this classic, amazing film.
Mm-hmm. Movie I have not seen yet, but I'm looking so much to watch him.
I didn't realize you hadn't seen it.
No, I haven't.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised you got it on the list before me, but it is a good movie.
Yeah, for some reason we never watched it as kids, so...
Well, I only caught it on Cartoon Network like when I was in high school.
Okay.
So, and I enjoyed it. So, I saw Incredibles before this.
Oh, wow, okay.
Give you an idea.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, join us next week for that.
All right.
Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy!
So where can they find you, Jacob?
They can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron and Jacob's Daily Art Corner, my personal art Facebook page. On Twitter at Jacob B. Heron. On Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. And on Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. Where can they find you, Drew?
You can find me on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. You can also find my Facebook page at Drew's Photo Bin, where I upload my photography. You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759 and Twitter at GGeorge759. Where can they find us, Jacob?
You can also visit our website, thecellcast.podbean.com, where you will find every episode we released and links to listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. Our RSS feed, if we aren't in your favorite podcast app directory, please share, review, and subscribe to us there and share us with your friends.
You will also find a link to our Facebook group, the Double Feature Podcast Community, where we talk about both animated and live-action movies. We share this with our other podcasts, which we do with Jacob's brother Jim, at the Movie of the Week podcast, where we talk about live-action movies. You can also email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. Also, please like our page on Facebook. We try to post about upcoming movies. If you comment on that movie's post before we record, we'll read your comments in the episode. And remember, every time we say The Cellcast, that is with a single L.